A dog for sale. I love it. A dog for sale.
I've
That's
gotten
it.
my use out
That's
of
an
them.
interesting story. I wonder if that's really true about
Oh, it's
Stallone,
absolutely
that he
true.
sold his dog.
It's absolutely true. It's been
You
verified.
know,
It's been around forever. He,
yeah.
he talked
Well,
about it. He couldn't eat. He couldn't feed
yeah.
the dog. He couldn't afford to feed the
Well,
dog.
he's done well for himself. I'll say that much for him. He
Yeah.
has done quite well for himself, with that script, and he parlayed it into so many different things. Rocky. Then he went on to doing that the Rambo, and
Right.
now he's got this thing called the Tulsa Kings, which I find fascinating. I mean, have you watched Tulsa Kings?
Which
Anybody?
is that the one where he's a mobster who gets out of jail?
Yeah,
Moves.
he's a mobster. The premise is he's a mobster, and he spends 25 years. He takes the rap for the godfather of the family, and when he gets out, they say, "Hey, man, there's no place for you. You're a dinosaur. We're going to move you to Tulsa, Oklahoma." And then he breaks from the family and he creates his own family, and it's quite good. He's very good in the role. And by the way, have you seen his daughters? He's got three amazingly good-looking daughters. So, and he's got a reality show. But speaking of reality and speaking of show, we'll come back to this. Let's introduce ourselves. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our 180th meeting of our current event show, the Soundbroker Roundtable, which we're no longer calling the Roundtable. So I think this is the last time I'm ever going to mention that. This is our 180th meeting, and welcome to our current event show, where everything you hear is an opinion, so do your own research. Before we get into the stories, we're talking about Sylvester Stallone. I guess it had to do of how broke you can be and sell your dog. But then again, it also has to do with Halloween. And today's episode is called A Halloween First. We'll get into that in a minute. So anyway, hey, everybody on the panel who wants to say something. If you do want to say something, introduce yourself. Now would be the absolute perfect time.
Hello, all. I'm Wayne from downtown Australia.
From Wagga Wagga.
Wagga Wagga. Don't leave the Wagga out of Wagga.
Yeah, I'm David. I live in Hollywood. I'm a sound guy. Still working after all these years.
Kurt out of Seattle. I'm a sound guy also.
Well, there you go. And Jan, I'm a master of all trades. Or wait a second, maybe I'm not a master of all trades, but I've come close. I've come close many a time. As I like to say, I've never been wrong. I thought I was once, but I was mistaken. So there we are. Welcome, everybody. So we were talking about Halloween. So David, you went down to the capital of Halloween, of all Halloween towns, West Hollywood.
West Hollywood. In the 60s, not too cold, between 100 and 200,000 people on a 1-mile stretch of Santa Monica Boulevard. And it's pretty incredible. These people, probably 60% of the people had some sort of costume on. And these are most elaborate costumes, all the way down to barely anything. There are a lot of gay people in West Hollywood, so you had a whole lot of asses walking around. And then you had kids and you had adults and you had 150,000 straight people there. I mean, it was just really a wonderful event. I've done it 10, 12 times now.
Anyway, do you think it was a little bit bigger this year because there's so many actors out of work?
Well, it gets so crowded that I leave by 9:30 because you can't move. It's kind of like you can lift your feet off the ground and you'd still be there because there's so many people right in the main intersection. So I come early and I leave early, and there's still hordes of people coming in. But before COVID, the last time they did that was 2019. So they haven't had it for 4 years. Last year they were going to have it, but they canceled it because there was a resurgence of the virus just before they had to make the decision, even though by the time Halloween came around, it really wasn't so bad. But the point is that before they had the COVID, so 2019, maybe 2017, they said they had 400,000 people there. And this year they only have between 1 and 200,000. When I say only, it's ridiculously crowded. I just can't imagine. I was there that year. They had 400,000, but I think I left early because it was just getting insane.
Tell you
So
what, why don't you show some photos? Why don't you share your
What-
screen? You were showing them
What do
earlier.
they do
Some
there?
of these photos are just
all
amazing.
right, it's photo time.
David, what
Now,
do they
let me
do
ask you.
in
Let
West
me
Hollywood?
ask you this question before you or as you're showing the photos. Was there any Barbie content?
Oh, there were
Barbie,
so many Barbies and
costumes?
Kens. There probably 50 Barbies and 50 Kens were there.
Yeah, that was the #1 costume this year.
Yeah. Now I didn't get any pictures of Barbies and Kens. I think I might have gotten a Ken. I'm not sure, but we'll see in a minute. I have to let's see, share screen, and go to this picture.
All right. Is that
What?
Betty Boop?
That's two Betty Boops. Well, no, they didn't have the red mini dress on. They were just people. Then there's a lot of groups. A lot of people come, like this is what, 7. There's a lot of pictures.
Great costumes.
That one I didn't get. There they are. And a lot of people come from Japan. It's pretty amazing.
Okay, so yeah, yep. Wow, look at those dinosaurs. That's great. Wow, that's a great Kiss costume.
Gene Simmons was really there. All right, I'm on.
Oh, that
it.
was that wasn't Gene Simmons, was it?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. It was just really. This one just sat and posed.
Wow. Wow, that guy in the police costume looks really good.
Yeah, there were so many. There I am. I have a cleaver through my head. You can't really see it in that picture.
Oh, yeah. You can on the top. Yep.
I gave my camera to somebody. They took a lot of pictures. Holy cow!
Oh, very, very good.
This was
And
a
by the way,
family.
that's his sister next to him, and for
That's
those
my
people that
sister.
are interested.
It says, "Don't mess with the chef." So we kept telling people. All I did was ask for some salt, and I got a cleaver through my head. So that's a family. There are a lot of kids there. A very tall horse face. This people everywhere.
Wow, that's in the middle of the street in West Hollywood.
They block off a mile of
Is it Santa Monica Boulevard?
Santa Monica Boulevard. Now the dog was the dog was a bumblebee too. That was really cute. That guy had no head with the hat on.
He must have been short.
I had my picture taken with a lot of people.
Very, very cool. Very, very, very cool.
Oh man, you give your camera to somebody, look what they do.
That's
Okay.
all.
There is an app on the iPhone that allows people to take only one picture with you. That's a good pic. That one looking like Lady Gaga. That's good.
Oh, these guys were just so into it.
I'll bet they were.
Very good.
The Day of the Dead, which was also yesterday.
That's very good. I just saw the movie Coco again. It brings tears to my eyes every time I watch the movie. It's so good. If you haven't seen the movie Coco,
Yeah.
I believe it's a Pixar film. Really, really good. Animation phenomenal, good storyline, great music. It's all amazing. Well, thanks for sharing those pictures. I really appreciate it. Let me tell you what's happened. Actually, you can keep sharing the pictures while I tell you what happened with me.
That's
So
it.
I woke up yesterday morning on Halloween morning, and I said to Bo, do people celebrate Halloween here? Do they come to the house and ask for candy? She says, why would they do that? I said, well, it's a custom called trick or treat. And I had to explain to her what it meant to be trick or treat, because in Thailand, one of the things, there's no idioms or there's no slang. It's basically very literal when you translate the language. And so I explained to her what trick or treat meant. And she says, no people come. So about 5:30 or so, I go to play pickleball, and she's here at the house, and all of a sudden I get a text message. She says, there are kids at the front door. What do I do?
What'd you tell her?
As I said, well, give them some candy. So she said, well, we don't have any candy. She says, we have big jars of potato chips. I said, well, give them that. And so she gave them these huge jars of potato chips. Like
give them money.
big. Yeah, that's what I told her too as well. But at that point in time, it was too late. And so anyway, so I came home, and she was so excited that she had kids at the house. And then all of a sudden, there's another knock on the door, and more kids come. And 2 kids come, and we have just enough candy, 2 more pieces of candy that she bought, that she was able to because she went to the store to buy more candy, but she only bought 2 boxes of little giveaway candies. And I'm explaining, you can give money, you can give an apple, but the candy's the best thing to give. Anyway, she says, well, we're out. And so she runs to the store and buys a bunch more candy. And when she gets home, the door knocks again, and these 3 little girls are in costume. And they spoke perfect English. And I asked them where they were from, thinking that they were from America. And it turns out that they were from Russia. And I did not know that Russians celebrated Halloween. But it was Bo's first trick-or-treat experience, and she was beaming. And then, of course, after we had all that candy that she'd finally gone to the store 3 times, and now we had all this candy, no one else showed up after that.
So, Jan,
Typical.
can I ask the question? If you don't have candy, do you get tricked? How does it work?
Well, if you don't have candy, they just, toilet paper your house or throw eggs at you or whatever, whatever mean trick they want to come up with. Kurt, what did you do when people didn't give you candy as a kid?
Just went to the next house, I guess. Nothing devious.
You see, coming from New York, it wasn't that simple. You had to do something, no candy. Oh, we kill you, like Ahmed, the terrorist, But no, everybody in New York always had candy. There's never, what you would do when you ran out of candy, you'd shut off your house lights so that it looked like nobody was home.
Well, back then, everybody also, there was no credit cards, so it was all change. So there's always change in the house to give to the kids.
Yeah. And of course, I used to trick or treat for UNICEF when I was a kid as well, to give to the poorer children in the world, and that's how they got us to eat. That's how they got us to eat in America, where they would say, hey, there are starving children in China, eat all your food. They're starving, so you could have food, and I never could quite grasp that concept. And meanwhile, I got fat, and the kids in China just died of starvation. Just didn't seem fair to me, Anyway. Well, speaking of Hollywood, speaking about, what's going on, unfortunately, Matthew Perry died. And he died drowning in a hot tub. Now, I don't know. I haven't heard the news today. Did they figure out how he drowned in the hot tub?
They won't know for a long time.
Well, may he rest in peace. But that's really hard to do, drowned in a hot tub, without...
Well, they did say they didn't find any signs of foul play or drugs or alcohol.
Right. So
he's been recovered for a long time, so maybe he had a heart attack. Would be my guess.
Well, that just means he didn't have any chickens or ducks or geese at his house when they say foul play. So there were no birds at the house. But who knows? There could have been mischievous deeds gone down. That's it.
Tip the waitress. Jan will be here all week. Try the veal.
Also, thanks. It's really good. I got to tell you, try the veal. But listen, all kidding aside, who else died this week? Bobby Knight. He passed away. And, bringing Indiana. I mean, that Hoosier movie was phenomenal with Gene Hackman, that played basically his life, I believe, right?
I don't know.
Well, it's an opinion show. Do your own research.
So that means there's one more then. Means there's one more yet to come.
Well, yeah, and it's early in the week. But I'll tell you, on the other hand, things are changing, and I don't know. Guess who's Guess who's being sued?
Trump.
No. Guess who's being sued? That's it. The guess who's being sued. I just thought I'd say it like that. Randy Bachman, Burton Cummings. There was a cover band called Guess Who's, HOAWHO apostrophe S, and they're a takeoff on the Guess Who, and so the original band members are suing them for false advertising.
You know what BTO stands for?
Bachman Turner Overdrive.
Better turn it off.
Better turn it off. There you go.
I should have known it wasn't that.
Yeah, and David, you're out with Hotel California, but they're not being sued because they're the
They're not
official.
called the Eaglettes or anything. They're actually authorized. The Eagles have authorized them to play their music, so they are unsued. It's just the opposite of being sued. They've been approved.
Yep. And and Bruce Springsteen. I'm sure there must be a Bruce Springsteen cover band, but Bruce Springsteen just announced 22 dates in Europe for next year, so he's going to be going out on the road next year.
He canceled.
And you know what they say? That Taylor Swift is now a billionaire. This tour in a movie put her over the top, and now she is a billionaire. Congratulations to Taylor Swift, because I know she's an avid listener of this podcast. Sometimes she even watches it, but so Taylor, I just want to say thanks for everything, and I'm not asking you for any money, but I would appreciate it if you just put it out on your feed that you do watch this, so that other people can come and join us. We'd like to have some Swifties in the room. At least that was Wayne was telling me that before we started the show, right, Wayne?
See what Denver did after they beat the Chiefs?
So
yes, I did. I heard what they played.
Magic Johnson just became a billionaire. But Magic Johnson made his money doing business deals. He hardly made anything.
Yeah, pretty amazing. I mean, he that whole area down was SoCal. Inglewood used to be, you used to be scared to go there except for the Forum and the racetrack. He took that place over, man, built it up.
He owns parts of the Dodgers. He owns parts of. I mean, he's just really a good businessman, and he's doing a lot for Black people. Helping out them economically. So he's doing good, and he's getting rich. It's really a good combination.
Speaking of getting rich, you know what blew me away? I read in Bloomberg this week that Steve Ballmer, you know who he is?
Yeah, he's number.
Yeah.
He's like the 17th richest person or something.
He's the 5th richest person in the world right now, the 5th richest person in the world. He started out as Bill Gates' assistant. He was the 24th employee in 1980 of Microsoft, and now he's worth some $117 billion. And basically, so the only people ahead of him right now, according to this, was Elon Musk, Bernard Arnault, Jeff Bezos, and Bill Gates. And rounding out the top 10 are Larry Ellison, Warren Buffett, Larry Page, Mark Zuckerberg, and Sergey Brin. And most of these guys are all from social media, they're all from the Silicon Valley era.
Ballmer was the one who the Zune was his idea. I did the launch for the Zune with Ballmer up here.
That was a failure for sure.
Big time.
You would think that somebody from Apple would be in that top 10, but I guess it's because Steve is no longer with us. That's Oh, here's something that you might find interesting, Kurt. MEYER is having a demo of their Panther and 2100 LFC subs in Anaheim, California on the 15th of November. So, by the way, if anybody is interested that's listening to the show and wants to go see it, send me an email to soundbroker@gmail.com, and I will send you a link to a reservation. It's in Anaheim. It's at the Eastside Christian Church on the 15th, and they're going to do a demo of Panther and 2100 LFCs. Do you have any of the 2100s?
I do now, yeah.
When did you get them?
I got the first 6 about 3 weeks ago, and I got more on order.
Now, how does it compare? How does it compare? Is it still a 2-to-1 ratio? of tops to bottoms?
I haven't used them yet. We haven't deployed them, but all of the info in Map 3D shows that it's essentially the same output as a 1100 with a little bit higher response. It goes a little higher. But other than that, it's pretty much the same amount of energy, amount of output. So yeah, you could do, it depends on the music, but yeah, we typically do about a 2-to-1 ratio.
Wayne, what do you do down in Australia? Is it a 2-to-1 ratio down there too? Or is it upside down?
Well, it could be
You put
upside
more
down,
subs
but
than hops?
well, I don't know. I don't know. Every system's different, but I quite like a flat sounding system. So sometimes that entails, and obviously our ear rolls off into those really low frequencies, frighteningly when you get down into the 40 and the 30s. But I think it depends on the spec of the top box. I mean, if you use, you know, if the top boxes, you have to have a look at the two specs. Because
now, because everything is different, you know, like in other words, you know, you when you're having winter, we're having summer, you know, the toilet flows in the opposite direction, all of that stuff. So do you put the high and mid frequency boxes on the bottom and the subs on the top, or is it the same as in North America?
No, they put the
No, I
audience
think
in the ceiling.
They
Yeah, you
patch
could
the
put 'em in the
stage from
ceiling.
right to left, Jan.
yes.
That's right.
So, you know, it's a bit like driving, isn't it? We just do it opposite. But anyway, I think that it's probably, you have to look at the spec of the box to see how many subs. But but you have to have, if you want to have the really deep frequencies audible, you've got to have more output. I think I read somewhere at some of those big picture theatres, you know, the very low frequencies under 40, which there's not a lot of study of. They found how they behave because they're such long wavelengths, and the room has to be big to make them develop. But some of those, the sound pressure levels are frighteningly more than, say, the mid band to be audible. So
now,
you feel it.
Is it hard to mic up a didgeridoo? Because I hear that it's mandatory by law that every band has a didgeridoo player in the band. Is that true
I
or
don't think
false?
that's mandatory, but I have mic'd up many didgeridoos. They mic up pretty easy. Sometimes you just put a microphone on the floor and they follow it, and they push it around. And other times you put the little microphone on the end of it.
It's like upside down bagpipes.
Yes, they come out quite loud because they're quite a loud instrument, depending on who plays them.
I'm surprised you don't have one in the, I see you have a guitar in the background. I'm surprised you don't have one in the house.
What
I
didgeridoo?
would figure that, you know.
Well, I suppose you could make a didgeridoo out of anything if you're good at it. You could, but
just like in the old days when I used to get high, anything could make a pipe. Anything, you know.
Wayne's a
Wouldn't make a
didgeridoo.
yeah. I don't think I'd ever be making a didgeridoo. There's quite an art to it, apparently, the proper ones. But I think the art's more to the actual how you play it. It's quite hard to play, apparently. And
well, obviously, it's an opinion show, so you know, there are people that play it that don't think that way. But I will tell you something. I think we spent enough time on that. All right, moving on.
Moving on.
So guess what? Okay, so today is the first, right? I believe it's the first where you guys are, right? It's first where I am. But tomorrow on November 2nd, Now and Then, if you don't know what Now and Then is, it will be released worldwide tomorrow on November 2nd. And Paul McCartney says that it will be the last Beatles song. And Lennon wrote it and recorded the song at his home in New York City in the late 70s. It was later worked on McCartney, Starr, George Harrison, and George Harrison died in 2001. So this song, they've been working on this song for decades. And in the mid-90s, it was finished by McCartney and Ringo Starr this year, over 4 decades later. 4 decades they worked on this song. It features the original vocals recorded by Lennon that were preserved using artificial intelligence. And the Beatles Get Back filmmaker Peter Jackson, he was commissioned in 2021 to help bring Now and Then back to life by applying the same AI restoration techniques used in the groundbreaking documentary. Did you guys see that documentary, by the way? It's amazing if you're a Beatle fan.
Fly on the wall.
And by 2022, Starr and McCartney set out to complete the song, which also features new instrumentation from both McCartney and Ringo Starr, plus guitar recordings by Harrison from the 90s to complement Lennon's vocals. So here's the deal. What do you guys think? Do you think, I mean, this is what, 65 years later, I believe, is when the Beatles were having all their hits. I mean, of course, you can't walk into an elevator without hearing Beatle music right now. But do you think the kids of today are going to appreciate a song that was written back in the 70s by a band that they think that McCartney, was in Wings?
Well, you got to remember that for kids today, love the Beatles. Is they're not unknown. They're not like, who was Jerry and the Pacemakers. These are bands that these kids love, so they'll probably enjoy it.
I'm a bit of a theory that if a great song with great melody line, us humans will like it. It's just that if you're in that generation and it gets played humongously, then eventually you don't listen to it as much. But now that you're 60 years on, a great song with a great melody line will still, I think, people will enjoy it, whether it's today's music or not.
Well, just ask Beethoven and Mozart what they think. I mean, there you go. Those guys are still, their music is still as popular as ever.
I gotta go. Bye, everybody.
All right, you
have a great week, David.
Maybe I'll see you next week.
Okay, Dave, we'll talk later. Just before you go, just to let you know that Daylight Savings Time is starting, and I will make a decision on what I'm doing with the time of this show before next week. So watch your email, okay?
You got to keep it around at the same time. You just have to get up earlier. That's all.
Or do I have to get up later? That's the question. Fall back, spring forward. I don't know.
Enjoy your electrons.
I woke up thinking about it in the middle of the night, saying, "Oh my God, what am I going to do next week?"
Let me just tell you, you're getting up earlier. That's all there is to it.
There you go.
Goodbye.
See you, David.
Bye. Also, another thing that's really interesting, and it's just an aside to this that I found as well, and I'm thinking about it, and it's a tip of the week. If you wanted to take a virtual tour of Abbey Road Studios, Google Cutout has a virtual tour online, so you could go to www.abbeyroad.com. Anyway, we'll put the link in it. We'll put the link in the show notes. And if you want to see a virtual tour of Abbey Road Studio, you could see it. So anyway, yeah, as far as the music goes with the Beatles, I'm really curious to see whether or not it's going to catch on. It would be amazing if it became a #1 song all over the world. But the reality is they probably won't be making as much money off of that song as they would if it would have come out 65 years ago. Because of all the streaming, how many times it would have to be streamed for them to make any money whatsoever, I wonder if they have any merchandise that they're selling, which probably not. But what do you guys think about that?
Paul's touring again, so maybe they'll have something available with merch. Who knows?
So are you excited to listen to it? Are you going to listen to it? I guess you won't have a choice. It'll probably be everywhere.
Oh, I'll listen to it. I liked all the stuff they did last time with Free as a Bird and all that stuff. It was all great. I'm sure it'll be just like that.
The one thing about the Beatles songs, now Bo, she doesn't speak fluent English, but she speaks it well enough for me to understand what she's saying. And the reality is that she loves the Beatles music. And I realize why she loves the Beatles music so much is because the same reason why, like Dua Lipa or Taylor Swift, they use a lot of melody without words, like la 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 la, that kind of stuff, uku-ka-choo, uku-ka-choo, those kind of sounds that the Beatles would put throughout all of their, obla-dee, obla-da, that kind of stuff, bang, bang, Maxwell's silver hammer came down upon her head, do-do-do-do-do. You know what I'm talking about?
They were just stuck on words.
Yeah, I mean, well, because in the movie, John Lennon says, just say cauliflower until you get the right words. Just use the word cauliflower until you get the right word. So, but
Yes,
basically,
yesterday
and so
was
I think,
scrambled eggs.
yeah, yep. So here's something interesting because we're all music fans, we're all basically in the music business. That there is an article now out that says that songs that pull on your heartstrings and the most of them temporarily soothe the perception of pain, a new study found. So if you're feeling pain, cue up your favorite melancholy and bittersweet tunes, like for example Adele's beautiful ballad To Be Loved, if you needed an emotional release. What's that, Wayne? I can't see it. Read it.
Yeah, and this came where I work, all this goodies came in, and this I collected it last week. So it's not an original Beatles thing, but it's a compilation by EMI of Beatles songs. So I just grabbed it because it was in good nick.
And what is that? What actually is that? So, see, there are people that are listening,
cassette.
not just watching. So you have to explain what you're watching.
Well, that's a cassette. It's a dual cassette released by EMI of the Beatles song.
Wow, how old is that?
Well, I was trying to let me see if I can see the date on me, but they're in really good nick.
The reality is that I don't even have a cassette player anymore.
I still got a cassette player with Dolby S actually. So that was made and distributed in Australia by EMI. What date was it? They didn't date this one. Who knows? It's in good nick, though.
Well, it's got to be from the late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah, I would think so too. I think it's got to be in that era, but it hasn't got a date on it, which is really
I have to get the hamsters on the wheel to turn the motor for that cassette player.
So anyway, I just collected it the other day because it came in a bunch of into Vinnies. You got Vinnies in America, haven't you?
What is that, Wayne?
Vinnies. Don't you have Vinnies in America where people bring their stuff in? And then we sort it and it gets sold cheaply, or some stuff goes to lots of it goes to the tip actually. But they bring all their stuff they don't want in.
I think we have those, like we call them.
Is it like a Goodwill? Is it like a Goodwill or a thrift store, Dan?
Yeah, I think that's what he's describing. Whereas you have stuff you don't want, you donate it to a charity, and then we have stores like that in America, the Salvation Army, and we have Goodwill. You know how much money the CEO of Goodwill makes? It's frightening. Millions and millions of dollars. This guy makes millions, and basically people donate their stuff so that they don't have to throw it out, and he sells it to other people that need it. I bought many things at Goodwill over the years.
Yeah, but now Goodwill, they're like a retail store. They sell everything at top dollar.
Wow. Has COVID changed everything or what?
They even have a high-end Goodwill store in Orange County.
Wow.
That's called Better Will.
Better Will, yeah. Goodwill. Great Will is what it's called.
Better Will.
So Vinny's in Australia, and I think it's the same all over.
Hey, Kirk is on one tonight. He's got good ones.
Yeah.
Kirk's always funny. I love him.
Must be the cold meds.
They pretty much do the same thing, Jan, but they bring it in, people donate their stuff, and then some of it gets sold at a cheap rate, and so it's affordable, and other stuff they donate to places. And it's a good organisation. But I thought it was it's been going since the 1700s or something. I did think they were in the States though. Anyway, there's a piece of trivia, and I do 2 days a week there. And
well, there you go.
I have to say this though, Jan, an awful lot of stuff that goes to the tip comes in as well. That should have went in the bin. But anyway, you got to.
Yes.
But yesterday, like I had over $1,000 worth of retail clothes still had the tag on them, and it was well and truly like I opened up one bag and I'm sorting it, and there was over $1,000 Australian of brand new goodies donated, and that happens every now and again.
Yeah. Do you know that Amazon has auctions where you could buy pallets of stuff that people return. And so what they do is they when Amazon gets returns and the vendors don't want it back because it's too expensive to send it back to the vendors, they just palletize it. They just throw lots of stuff in these pallets, and then they sell the pallets. And they auction off the pallets, and nobody knows what's in the pallets. It could be home goods, it could be automotive parts, it could be televisions, it could be a million and one things in these pallets, and you buy these pallets. And people buy these pallets and then open up the pallets and sell the items individually back on Amazon or eBay. And they make a lot of money doing that.
Is that like that? They got a telly show that from the States that they show where you go to the garage, and is that similar where no one knows really what's in the garage? They can sort of guess.
Oh,
And-
they call that Storage Wars, I think.
Yeah,
is what they call
Storage
that
Wars.
show.
Yes,
Storage
yes.
Wars, where people bid on storage lockers, because you don't know what's inside. Because a lot of people, some people will die, and the storage locker goes unclaimed, or people don't have the money to pay for their storage locker, or they forget about it.
Hmm.
So it's
Yes,
possible.
anyway, I've watched that show a few times. Quite interesting. They get pretty motivated.
I mean,
don't
that's a
think
great way to get rid of your stuff. You pay for it. You pay for 1 month of a storage locker. You put everything that you don't want in that storage locker, and then you don't pay for it anymore. And now somebody, so it costs you only the amount of money that it costs you to bring the shit over to the storage locker and the month of storage locker fees, and then you forget it. And hey, and you've you cleaned out your house. It's a great idea. Thanks, Wayne.
But this is just an opinion show, right?
Yes. Yes, it's an opinion. We're
Not
making this up as
actually
we go
advising
along.
anyone. Make up your own mind.
Hey, Jan, I love that.
That's right.
Jan, I love that.
I'll tell you.
Wait.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I never
Jan,
thought
I
of it
love that
before, Wayne.
opinion.
Thanks a lot, man. I mean, right now it's when I sold the office building, I thought I had thousands of dollars worth of revenue that I was going to be able to, recapture from all of the things that I had in that office. It turns out it cost me thousands of dollars to have it removed. So COVID, thank you, COVID. The COVID changed everything. Oh, by the way, speaking of everything being changed, I mean, this is a sad story, but the FDA here in America warns about 26 different eye drop products, including from large store brands like Target, Rite Aid, CVS, that could lead to eye infections and vision loss. There was a contaminated lot with a drug-resistant bacteria, and some patients have experienced vision loss and surgically had to have their eyes removed, and some people died. So if you have any kind of eye drops that you're not sure of and you bought recently, well, there's a link we're going to put the link in the show notes from CNN, and I believe they tell you how to dispose of. But whatever you do, don't put them in your eyes again. So especially if you bought it from a major company like Target or Walmart's or Rite Aid or CVS. So do not use those eye drops. Okay, that's what I'll tell you. So as long as you still do have your vision, I will tell you a secret that I heard, which is really cool. And you guys watch Netflix? You have Netflix everywhere in the world. Do you have the Netflix in Australia, right?
Yeah, we have it, but I haven't got it.
Wow. And you call yourself a human being? Unbelievable.
It costs you money, Jan, that.
Well, actually, my phone company gives me Netflix, so I don't, so it's part of my plan. And a lot of companies do that. You'll find something, you buy something, and they give you something else. Like if you buy an Apple product, they give you Apple TV for a period of time. Kurt, do you have Netflix?
Yeah, mostly so my daughter can pirate it. I have to call her if I need to know the password to log in if I ever want to watch anything.
Oh. So it's interesting because the reason I say that, Wayne, is because the story that I'm about to tell you about Netflix is from Australia, from your hometown.
Wow,
Walla
there you
Walla.
go. Walla Walla.
If I knew your address, I would say it's coming from next door. So be careful. But I don't know your address, but I still think it's coming from Australia. Anyway, so they found that Netflix has these codes, and there's 27,000 secret Netflix code that will unlock hidden content on Netflix. So, for example, let's say you wanted to watch an action comedy. You can go to Netflix and type in 43040, and all of the Netflix action comedies will show you in a list so that you could pick out what it is you want to watch. And for spy thrillers, that number is 9147. And if you like stand-up comedy, that number is 11559. So don't take my word for it. We're going to put 2 links in the show right now. One is about the secret code guide, and the other one will be the gender list. So look at them both, and that way you'll be able to see if you want to watch Netflix and you don't want to scroll through their screen, you want to figure out what you want to watch in advance. That's how you do it. So, and that's my tip of the week. And that's about it. I don't really have anything else to talk about.
I wish
So-
somebody could tell us what the oldest Halloween candy was.
Oh, I know what it is. The oldest
Honey.
Halloween candy. Ladies and gentlemen and children of all ages, do we have a drum roll? Let me see. I might have a drum roll, but
I haven't
wrong
got one.
drum
I haven't got
roll.
one. I can't do it.
But the oldest Halloween, oh boy, the oldest Halloween candy is the candy corn. That's the ones that look like the little teeth.
Wow.
They come to a point with white and orange and yellow.
It's like eating
Candy
wax.
corn.
Gross.
I used to love that candy, but candy is, it's all sorts of sugar in it, and to say the least, that's why it's sweet. But John Oliver did a story on chocolate this week. I watched it on YouTube. I'm too cheap to buy HBO Max, but they do put his main story of the week out on YouTube, and it's really cool. He put out a story about the chocolate industry, and I did not know this, but all of cocoa seems to come from only 2 places in the world. And one of them is Ghana, and the other one I forgot. I think it's West Africa. I'm not really sure. I can't remember, but Ghana is one of them. And basically, they pay peanuts, not even peanuts, for the cocoa. And last year, the chocolate industry was a multi-billion-dollar industry, and they don't pay anything to these farmers. And of course, the big thing is child labor, because these farmers have children that work on the farm, and some, they have some, I mean, in the poorer nations, there is such a thing as where the uncle or the aunt will give the child to their cousins or their brothers and put them to work. And it's a sad thing, but that's how it happens in the world. And chocolate is one of those industries where they use child labor to farm the cocoa bean.
So if they're paying them peanuts, is that how the peanuts get into the chocolate that Tina was talking about at the top of the show?
It's very possible. It's very possible. Or the monkeys eat them and poop them out and put them into it. I don't know. I'm not really 100% sure.
Oh, there goes my
But there
appetite
is
for
possible
chocolate.
that happens. Oh, by the way, thank you. Try the meal. Okay.
They've had a show on telly here lately called the Chocky Wocky Doo-Ha. Have you seen that? It's in the UK, but they've been running it I've seen it 3 times now. The Chocky Wocky Doo-Ha. And they make
There you
fancy
go.
chocolate.
I think I have something here that will celebrate that. Let me see. Where is it? Let's see. Nope, I guess not. Were you able to hear that?
No.
No, not properly. The
Success at last. Success at last. Anyway, that's it. I can't think of anything else to talk about. You guys have anything you want to talk about?
I think there's a Aussie football team going to LA shortly. Is that not LA? Vegas.
Is that a candy cane hanging off the top of your refrigerator
Yeah.
next to the bear?
No, The one with the pen in it, with the Christmas pen.
It's hard to tell.
I think it's Daffy Duck next to the bear. Oh, you mean the little torch? That's a torch. The thing behind. Yeah, that's a torch.
I miss the
big
cornflakes days.
Sorry. What was that, kid?
I miss the cornflakes days.
Oh, they're still
Yeah.
there. Cornflakes are still down there. And the chook's up the top.
Yeah, we
there.
all went out. Thanks to you. Kellogg's had a banner year the first year that we did this show. Everybody went out and bought cornflakes. You know, they're sold all over the world to children
they
of all
are.
ages. That's about it. So what's up? What's up on your week, Kurt? What do you got coming up?
Oh, what have I got? We're kind of transitioning into more all corporate right now. I got a bunch of meetings. I've got a couple of designs I got finished for a church and a theater I've been doing some work with. I got asked to put a sound system into a church that was designed by the primary architect of the 1962 World's Fair, which was here in Seattle. And it was completed in 69. The entire church is concrete and curved.
Wow. I think that's a job for conventional speakers.
Talk about
yeah.
a challenge. The guy's hip, though. The pastor guy, I went and met with him, and he's like, wouldn't it make a lot of sense to have lots of little speakers down close to the people? And I'm like, finally, somebody actually gets it.
Yeah.
That's a
And
good
MEYER
idea.
happens to make a good speaker that would do that.
Yep, MM4s. That's what I'm going to do. A bunch of MM4s and little X20s. So I got to get that all built in 3D and do a whole presentation. But I got
Well,
that.
I have a lead
corporate-
right now. I have a lead for you on the milos, and it'll take them all. It'll take all the milos you got and then some. It is for an outdoor stadium that this guy is meeting with them right now. He just got hired, and he's meeting with them today. I already spoke with him 2 times already, and he's very interested. So
Yeah,
that
great.
might be good news for you.
Yeah, that would be great.
Anyway, and Wayne, what's up on your agenda?
Well, this week I'm doing a couple of shows. We're doing I'm working for another company, but we're doing the Relay for Life, which is the cancer funded fundraiser, and everyone goes and sleeps overnight, and they walk around in circles and turn around and go the other way, and they fundraise. They get sponsored to do that. And that's tomorrow. Well, I'm loading the truck today, actually, but later today, and that's all day tomorrow and Saturday.
Well, there you go.
That's a busy.
Well, it sounds like you got a good week planned.
I've had a pretty good
don't
week.
know what I've got planned. I'm planning a trip to Bangkok. I want to go up to Bangkok. I got 3 or 4 different friends coming into Bangkok. And so, Bangkok's 1-hour flight. And Bo and I are planning on a trip up to Bangkok. So when I know it, I'll let you know. But so one show next week or the week after will be coming live from Bangkok. So there you have it. I mean, it really doesn't matter where it's coming from. As long as I'm in a room, all you could see is a room anyway. So I could do what Kurt does and put up a background, the virtual background. But
The pathetic
I like my
thing
curtains.
is I'm only 25 feet away from that.
There's,
background.
hey, Kurt.
I've been doing a bunch of work here at the desk, so I figured I'd put that in there.
Yeah.
So, Kurt,
Well,
you
the
must have been
interesting
doing.
thing about the virtual backgrounds, as soon as you move, you could tell it's a virtual background.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's why I could rock my chair back and forth, and I'm still in focus. It doesn't change the background. Although I have a mesh chair, and it looks kind of strange when I do that, but on my end. But looking at it on a TV monitor, it looks fine. Anyway, if that's it, then we will. Tina, you have anything you want to share before we say goodbye to the media public?
I just was very happy that the Raiders fired that head coach today. That's what I was very happy about. I'd just like to put it out there for the world to hear.
There you go. Tina was actually one of the people that was fighting for this to get the coach replaced. She had petitioned the team, and she'd gotten many email back from the team owner saying, "Mind your own business." That's what they were saying. Mind your own business.
It was
Yeah,
a
we know
year
those,
to the date where I had initially started it.
Maybe he can coach in that stadium with the Milos.
That's it. There'll be room. There'll be room. Anyway, with that in mind, I think we should say goodbye to the media public. We'll stay here and talk again. If you've watched the show, oh, by the way, we have an extra listener. We went up to 366 YouTube subscribers, which is pretty impressive, if you ask me. You know, sometimes it really bothers me that I'll post something on Facebook that means something to me, and I'll get maybe 25 people giving it a comment. And then I see somebody else in the industry that will put up something that's really a kind of meaningless thing about current events, and they'll put it up and they'll get, you know, hundreds of likes. And I say to myself, why am I not popular like that? You know, why is it that my posts are not getting those kind of clicks? You know, what do I got to do to get that many likes? You know, but then again, I get emails from Facebook saying my reels are in the top 4% of all reels, you know, which I don't get, because it doesn't seem like I've got that many views. But I guess there's so many people on Facebook that if you get a certain amount of likes, you're in that top percentage anyway. So that's where it's at. And we got 4,000 or 5,000 followers on Facebook, but I don't know how we get about, I think on Facebook, people are watching it about what, 40, 50 times, some shows as much as 100 times. So we're out there. We're out there in social media. So remember to give us a thumbs up. You know, tell us people you like it, share the show, and invite people to come join us on the panel. The more the merrier. And with that in mind, I want to remind you all that it's daylight savings time. So I don't know what that means for me here, trying to figure it out, but I'm not that good in math. So I really couldn't figure it out. What time I'm going to have to wake up next week for the show. Or maybe I can sleep later. I don't know. I can't figure it out.
1 hour early.
So when I'm hoping it's an hour later.
Either way, the sun might not be in David's eyes anymore.
Yeah, that would be nice. That would be nice. You know, you would think that he would have done something, but I guess it, you know, there are certain things that mean something to people, and certain things that don't mean as much. As long as you're getting the idea out there, it's really not as important about the aesthetics. And we're not office hours. We're not like, you know, we're not. I don't say your face has to be here. Your sound volume has to be -23. I don't do that. I just figure, you know, it is what it is. If you want to listen through it, you can listen through it. If you don't, you don't. I actually do it. You remember we started the show because during COVID, you know, everybody was lost. You know, nobody knew what was going on. Everybody was, you know, up in the air of what the future will hold. And I guess in a manner of speaking, that's where we are today. Nobody knows what tomorrow is going to bring. I mean, you've got, you know, this is probably the longest you've gone during your day that you haven't heard anything about the negativity that's going on in the Middle East, or all of the different things that are happening in the world that could be affecting our lives forever here on the American political scene, you know? And so I wanted to keep it that way. And I might just start another show, which I've been really thinking about. I started thinking about, you know, Ask the Sound Broker, but then I also thought about, well, maybe I should just do hanging out with Jan and doing a show like that where we could go into the political, you know, talking politics with Jan and bring your own political opinion. Of course, I haven't done that yet, but I've been thinking about it. You know, I used to do something called Thinking Out Loud, where I would do it every day while driving to the office. I had a Sennheiser clip mic that I'd put on, and I would record my thoughts as I was driving to the office. And I was, you know, I called the show Thinking Out Loud, which it was. And that's how we started, you know, broadcasting to the world. And I'm thinking about doing it again. But somehow it's one thing to think about it, and it's another thing to do it. And all it takes is the ability to say, I'm going to do it now, and do it. So that's all there is to it. You know, you got to do it every day. A little bit every day gets you a long way. And with that, have a great week, everybody. Remember, you make it happen. Give us a thumbs up, share the show, and follow us on Facebook and YouTube. And with that in mind, remember, you make it happen. Have a great week. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you again for our 181st show next week. Same time, same place, but it'll be a different time and a place because of daylight savings time. And with that, we are off the air.